I bought every new Uniqlo U item to help you decide which one is right for you. And we've got plenty of items to go through, so let's not waste any time and jump right into it. As usual, let's start off with outerwear first. First one is the oversized single-breasted coat. I got this one in the brown, and this is actually a size medium. It's not normally the color I'd go for, but I really like the shade of brown that they've used. And I was convinced by this exact look of picture. I'm not sold on the double hood look. And speaking of hood, in my previous video, I noticed that there were buttons on the neck, and it is indeed for the hood. But what's really neat about this hood is that it actually just folds into the coat itself, and the buttons basically just keeps it sealed into the coat. Because with other coats that I've got that's got a detachable hood, once you take it off, there's nowhere to put the hood. So sometimes they just end up getting lost. And there's actually just a small pocket in the back of the neck that's designed just for the hood to go into. And the small details like this, that makes me really appreciate Uniqlo, because the design is always really thoughtful with small details like this, and it just makes everything so much better. Now with the hood in the pocket, you're not going to feel it at all. It is pretty thin, so if you haven't got a hood or you are interested in a double hood look, then the option is there for you to take it out. Now the coat is rather oversized, and the length goes down to around my knee, and there's plenty of room inside, so it's not exactly a thick jacket. You won't be able to just wear this with a t-shirt in the winter, so it's really just designed for layering or as a raincoat. There are these buttons on the cuffs as well, so you can clip them together and it tightens it up for a tapered look. So it does have a pocket on both sides of the jacket, and on the inside it's also got a pocket as well. So in total there are 3 pockets. The shell is 77% cotton and 23% polyamide, which honestly is really good for this price range. Now I thought about getting the coating long coat as well, but the material is really shiny. I think overall, especially if you're a big guy, I think this coat is just a much better option. Next up is the Pufftech Parka. Now for this one, I went for the dark gray in the size large. Now if you're comparing puffiness, it's not going to compete with some of the higher end puffer jackets, but at this price range, I think it's pretty good. Now it's not exactly the thickest parka, so when the temperature does drop, you would definitely need a sweater or something underneath. It's got drawstrings for you to tighten around the waist and can make it look a bit rounder, I guess. But mostly I just can't believe that it's 51% cotton, because if anything was to be acceptable to be 100% poly, then a puffer jacket is probably it. And I think the white is also a good option as well if you are considering something lighter in color. As usual, it's got pockets on the left and also on the right as well, and there's also a pocket on the inside. Now I'm not sure why Uniqlo's grouped this one with outerwear, but it is what it is. It has an elastic cord around the waist similar to the Pufftech Parka, so you can tighten it up around the waist to give you a bit of a puffier silhouette. I'm not really a fan of how the hood looks when it's up. It's kind of got this weird tube sticking out aesthetics going on, and it kind of looks a bit weird. But I do like how the hood sits when it's not actually over your head. The pockets are invisible, so rather than having an extra cut of fabric attached to the front, it's just integrated fully into the side of the hoodie. And it also has thumb hole cuffs to cover up your palms. Now personally, I don't really like this at all. I think that it makes the design a little bit childish, and whilst you can argue that it helps keep you warm, the problem is the hood itself is not thick enough to keep you properly warm, and it's probably not something that I'll ever use, so you just end up with a sleeve with 2 holes in them if you're not using the thumb hole. Now onto the brushed jersey. I got this one in browns because I do believe it's the only piece with this specific 34 brown color. It's got the contour binding around the sleeves and also the waist, and it wasn't clear in the preview picture, but it does have pockets on both sides and also on the chest. I do think this would be a bit better if it's a fleece fabric, because it kind of feels like those employee's jacket that you get when you join a new company, and I'm struggling to see why you picked this one up for $59 when the Lambswool knit jacket is exactly the same price. So moving on to the Lambswool jacket, I got this one in a size XL actually. I don't know how the model in the promotional pictures are wearing a size medium. I actually think all 3 colors are really good, but I prefer this one, which they call green, but for me it looks more like beige or grey to me. It's quite similar to last year's knitted overshirt jacket, but the design looks like it's had a bit more thought put into it. This one is also 100% wool comparing to last year's 50%. So all around, I just think this is a far superior version compared to what they released last year. Overall, I just really like the design of this jacket. It's probably my favorite item from Uniqlo this year. And there are 2 pockets on your chest. Now, I probably wouldn't recommend putting things like phones or wallet in them because it will pull the fabric forward and doesn't look very nice. And there is another piece piece in a women's collection called the Lambswool Blend Zip. Again, they do show a male model wearing this one. I tried on the XL install and it fits well. And again, I have no idea how the model or the product photography is fitting into a small. It must be some kind of mistake. But given the fact that this is 40% wool and the rest synthetic, I just think it's way better to go for the Lambswool jacket. So the Lambswool jumper, I picked this one up in the green. Again, it doesn't look green to me at all. As I mentioned in my previous video, there is already a Lambswool jumper from Uniqlo, and this is the U-Line's take on it. Again, they did this last year as well, but I think this year they did a better job with it. In my opinions, I think the colors on the U-Line are a lot better. The fit is slightly boxy. You can probably size up one, and in my case, I would consider getting an XL as well. But actually for $49, I think this is a really good pickup, especially right now when the trend is going towards this eclectic grandpa look. So I got the Merino Jumper as well, and this one is in beige. Now, compared to the Lambswool jumper, it's not as thick. It's also 50% wool and 50% acrylic. And to me, unless you're specifically looking for a mock neck jumper, I don't really see any reason why they picked this one up over the Lambswool jumper, considering the fact that they are exactly the same price. But seriously guys, this mock neck is quite tight. I'd say it's pretty much a turtleneck, but what do you think? Do I look good in this? Now for the shirts, I only picked up the utility shirt in beige, primarily because I was interested in the lining. So it's got a relaxed fit and it has a bit more of a weight to it compared to the other shirt. Now personally, I like shirts to be thicker instead of thin, so this is definitely something that I like about this specific shirt. Obviously it's got a lining as well, so it will help keep you warm in the winter season. For the other shirts, I just think there are way better options out there, especially for the fact that these ones from Uniqlo cost $49. So these are my favorite base layer pieces, and I also personally really like the fit of these compared to an oversized t-shirt. I would say it's true to size fit, but it just runs a little bit loose, and nowadays it's just really nice to have something that has a little bit of a thickness to it without the design being oversized or cropped, which seems to be the only thing people are making nowadays. Now I got the red and also the grey one from years ago, but they are still going very strong. So if you're not a Uniqlo enjoyer yet, I do think this is the one you should be picking up to be converted. Now for the Airism line, I didn't pick up anything new because it's just a restock of existing items. And personally, I'm just not an Airism guy when it comes to base layer. You know, for outerwears like sweaters or jackets, I don't really mind it being even up to 100% polyester. But for a base layer that's constantly touching my skin, I just think the percentage of polyester is just a little bit too high. And I can run a marathon and not break a sweat, so it doesn't really bring me any of the technical benefits neither. So even though I do appreciate the technology they've come up with for Airism, this is not something that I'd wear personally. Okay, moving on to the bottoms. So I picked the wide color jeans up in the beige because I want to add more light color trousers to my wardrobe. Now I'm normally a size 34, but I did end up getting these in size 32. So bear that in mind when you're trying to size these up. I would definitely size down to what you would normally wear, and the cut is really good, and I also like the length as well. The body of the trousers are actually 100% cotton. Now what I like about these trousers, they're not too wide neither, because the ultra wide trend that's going on right now is just not really my style. But do bear in mind that these pockets are not as deep as regular Uniqlo trousers. So if I was to stick a regular size iPhone in there, sideways it won't fit, but vertically it will. So just bear that in mind. So the corduroy pants, the design of these are based on climbing trousers. So it comes with the adjustable belt. So the design is probably as wide as the white color jeans. Now, I'm not climbing myself, so I don't know if these are something that they will or will not wear. I'm going to assume no. And personally, I would have just preferred these to just be regular corduroy trousers with a smart waist and a drawstring like their usual trousers. Because with this belt, I think you can't really go for a more smarter look with it tucked in, and it just limits the versatility of this piece. Again, if I put an iPhone in there, it can fit in sideways, and this is just a regular size iPhone, so if you've got an iPhone Max, then it probably won't. But it does have the pocket in pocket, and on the back it's got two pockets and they're buttoned as well. Just no. Okay, for the roll bag, so I really like the design of these, and it's probably the first time that I really liked a bag from Uniqlo. Now, I'm not usually a bag person anyway, but with these, I think I'll definitely start using bags more often. It's got really solid handles, so you can hold onto it, and they're pretty big as well. So if you want to wear them a bit higher on your shoulders, you can, but they also have a shoulder strap as well. So if you want to wear a bit lower, you've got the option to do that also. The inside of the bag is absolutely massive. So if you're not carrying too much, you can roll the bag shut, but if you want to fit more stuff in, you can obviously just leave the bag unrolled. All right, so that's everything new from the Uniqlo U drop this year. Now, I'll be the first to say that this is probably the best drop they've done for a long time. Last fall, they had a lot of shirts and mock necks, and they did have a really good puff jacket. And then for the summer season from a few months ago, I just wasn't really a fan of the color palette that they used. In terms of recommendations, I think the best items to pick up are the Lambswool Jacket. If we consider the design and also the materials used, I think this is the best garment they've made this year. I think the Lambswool Jumper is also a really good option. The colors used for the Uniqlo U Lambswool Jumper, I just think they're a lot more wearable than the mainline one, which use a lot more brighter colors. And if you haven't picked up any of the Uniqlo U T-shirt, I do think they're a really good base layer. Obviously, there are better options out there, but within this price range, I don't think you can get much better than this. And then lastly, the white color jeans, the fit is really, really good, and they're really good price as well. And I think it'd be really good if they could come up with more colors in the future. Now, if you want to learn 15 style tips that I wish I learned sooner, you can click on this video here. Alternatively, there's something else for you to watch here as well. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.